Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another video, and I know it's been a really long time now since I've last uploaded, but I'm glad to be back. I'm going to be uploading a little bit more personal finance and lifestyle videos rather than tech videos, but if you guys are interested in kind of why I made this switch, I could talk about it in a different video, but for this video, I want to talk about how to budget in your early 20s. So to get started, I first just want to talk about how I personally view money as somebody who graduated college and now has a full-time income. Money is something that I definitely want to keep saving up right now, definitely as much as possible, so that once I am closer to that retirement age or around 60 years old, I'll be able to kind of reap all those benefits of compound interest throughout these years of me investing a lot right now. However, on the other hand though, I definitely don't want to have that mentality of saving every last dollar, and even meaning that I'm going to be missing out on valuable experiences like going on trips with friends or going out at night with friends. Anything like that, any memories that I'm going to create, with friends or family, I definitely don't want to skip out on that just because of the mentality to save every last dollar. But to combat this, my philosophy is pretty much to not spend as much money on material items that, in a couple years from now, maybe 5 years or 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say, that didn't really add too much value to my life. That was just something that I wanted at that certain point in time. And it's not going to compare to things like, going on trips or going out with your friends or any of those memories that you're going to create. Overall, I want to go through the rest of this video, and honestly, probably the rest of my entire channel, with the philosophy or the mentality that being young, you definitely want to save as much money as possible and, put it to the best use you can, by investing as much as you can. But also at the same time, I don't want to be restricted to, not go out and, have these memorable experiences just because of that mentality of, saving every last dollar. And instead, it's good to find that balance of, having control of your money and also going out, doing what you want in life and having fun and kind of keeping a good balance there. Alright, so now to actually get to the point of this video on how to actually budget your money when you're in your early 20s, let's first talk about tracking all your money and seeing where all your money is coming in, so your income, and where all your money is going out, or your expenses. So what I recommend for anyone, no matter if you just graduated college and you have a pretty low income, or you're in your 50s with a fat retirement account, what I recommend is that you just have one proper spreadsheet, just label it like finances or something, and make sure to track all your income, your expenses, your investments, and anywhere where your money is really going and coming in. And I know that a lot of you guys, or some of you guys, might be thinking, this is definitely a lot of work. I don't want to be going into a spreadsheet every single day and, putting in the exact dollar amount of what I spent for the day, including coffee, including, your lunch or whatever. You don't want to be doing that, and I get that. But analogy that I do like to give, or I guess it's the first time I would give it, is that pretend that you just, it's January 1st, you have a New Year's resolution of, getting fit. So, you want to get bigger, or you want to cut down, whatever it is, and you start looking up some YouTube videos. And then the first video you see is, it says to start tracking your macros. So tracking your macros, if you guys don't know, tracking all your calories, your protein, carbs, fat, all that stuff. And what a lot of people do is track it in an app called like MyFitnessPal or another food tracking app. So this is something that a lot of people recommend to just start tracking at least for 1 to 2 weeks, or at least for a month, and you'll kind of get the idea of, okay, for breakfast, this is what I eat almost every day. And if you start tracking it for 1 week to a month, you'll start figuring out consistently, okay, how much protein's in this, how many carbs are in this, or however many fats are in this, whatever it is. So pretty much, no matter your age or no matter your income, I would definitely recommend at least trying this once or for a few weeks to a few months, just to get the idea of consistently how much money you're spending. And this is definitely going to help you show, your income, your expenses, and your investments going forward, just to kind of see where you're at with your finances. So the way I set up my spreadsheet, which I'll go through in a separate video, is to first have a column for income to track what's coming in and where it's coming from. And then I have a column for expenses with the description and the category. And then the next column is my investments, which has my monthly 401k allocation for my job, and an automated Roth IRA, which is on a monthly basis. Finally, on the right, I have the total income, expenses, investments, total savings plus investments, and my total percentage of income saved and invested. And feel free to make any edits to the spreadsheet to make it, best suit you, since it is going to be tracking, your own personal finances. And for me personally, the most important field that I think out of this entire spreadsheet that I like to look at is the percentage of income saved and invested. The reason that I find this the most important is because, when I'm going throughout my month, say it's like, midway to the month, I look at that percentage, I see, is it kind of lower than where I want it to be right now? If I have a percentage goal, say of 50% for the whole month of percentage saved and invested, and it's looking like it's about, 60 or 70, and I'm already, midway through the month, then I'll begin to start thinking about ways to kind of lower my expenses going forward for the rest of the month. And even though you might think this is kind of annoying to go through on a daily or weekly basis, or how often you do it, compared to apps like Mint or a lot of the other automated apps that kind of track your finances, I would say that having a spreadsheet is definitely the best way to go, just because you can kind of manually see exactly how much money you're spending. And if you do it through Mint or another app, then it kind of just does it for you, and you're not, looking at every single expense like that. You're kind of seeing it as buckets of money spent. Like, for January you spent $500 on food. It's kind of easier to see, like, okay, so I spent $5 on Starbucks today. The next day you spend 10, and you kind of see that pattern of Starbucks and of just buying coffee in general. So you kind of might see some patterns that you might want to reduce, and if you're using an app like Mint, you might not see that. And personally, the way that's been working for me so far for the past about year or so is that every Sunday I set aside like 10 to 15 minutes, which honestly isn't a long time at all, and it's a really easy process. All I do is open my spreadsheet, open the month that I'm on, and then on the other side I'll just open up all my bank statements, my Venmo history, credit card bills, credit card rewards, investments, all that stuff. And I'll just add everything up, see what I'm spending, see what my income is. I'll put it together, and it honestly, again, it only takes 10 to 15 minutes, which isn't bad at all. Alright, so the next tip that I have for you guys is to start thinking about savings goals or investment goals, even in your early 20s. Since you most likely won't have a huge base to start off with after college, but if you do have a full-time job right after graduating college, it's good to start thinking about having a certain amount in your savings or in your investments in a certain period of time. For example, you definitely want to have a goal that's pretty realistic and also measurable. So let's say, for example, that you want to have $25K in your savings account by the end of the year. So this is pretty good, you have actively something to work towards. And personally, I find this to be a pretty motivating way to try to achieve your financial goals, whether it be a certain amount in your savings or a certain amount in your investments. And this is also a great way to start thinking about external sources of your income, rather than just having your 9-to-5 job or, your main source of income. You start to think about other ways like photography, YouTube, or, whatever it may be for you. And I would also recommend going back to the spreadsheet we talked about before and creating a new tab called Net Worth. So in this tab, you could track everything with your total cash, your total, bank account statements, your Venmo statements, and also your investments. So this helps you not only see, how much you're saving, but also see the direction that your investments are going towards. Finally, if you have your eyes set on something pretty nice that you want to get yourself, what I always do, or what I've been trying to do at least, is to start having a goal for, getting that item. So, for example, in college, I've always wanted this watch, the Seiko 5, and it's not, honestly, it's a pretty, relatively pretty inexpensive watch compared to other stuff. It's like $150, but at that time it was pretty expensive to me. So I pretty much set a goal for myself, which was, land an internship and graduate college, and that was the goal that I had. So if I reached that goal, I would buy the watch, and otherwise I wouldn't get the watch. So for me personally, this was a great way to motivate myself to, reach that financial goal, or reach, a different goal at that time, which was graduating college and getting that first full-time, internship and / job. But for me going forward, in the future, I like to kind of base watches off milestones for me. That's kind of a thing that, seems pretty cool to me right now, and, I know a bunch of other people do that too. And going forward, I want to keep doing this and, keep setting goals for nice things that I want. So, specifically if I want a nicer wallet, I want a nicer watch, I definitely want to have milestones that I want to keep pushing towards, whether it be financially or something business oriented. Next is to start prioritizing your expenses and start saving up or putting more money down on things that you really need, and start cutting back on things that you don't need. This might mean cooking instead of eating out, or using public transportation if you do live in a big city. And I would also say, if you do buy something that you don't necessarily need, I would also say to cut back on something that you also don't need. For example, I'm going to Miami next week with a couple of friends, and this is definitely something that's more of a want rather than a need. So what I would usually do when something like this happens is, so in the month of January, I spent, however many dollars on, the flight, the Airbnb, and all the other expenses. So what I'm going to do is take another one of my wants for the month, maybe let's say clothing, and I'll try to decrease my expenses there so that my savings rate, plus investments, kind of also balances out for the month. But also, going back to my first point though, if you can afford the trip or you can afford the experience that you're about to go on, I would say definitely don't say no just because you have that mentality of saving that extra couple $100s. And if you can afford it, definitely go on the trip and, make some sacrifices in other expenses for the month to kind of balance out that savings rate. And at the end of the day, all those experiences and all those memories are really what matters. So definitely go on that trip don't really think about, every single last dollar that you're about to save just to hit a certain goal that you have in mind. Budgeting in your 20s can be pretty stressful and, not the easiest thing to do, especially if you're pretty young, you just got a job, moved out to a new city, you have all this new freedom, independence, and you kind of want to use that money for new experiences and everything. But with a little bit of planning and some tracking, you could definitely set yourself up for some really good financial success in the future. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this one, definitely go down below and hit that like and subscribe button if you guys want to see some more videos like this one. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.